شبابا قد أنابا وإلى الله استجابا إن من يرجو الثواب لا يبالي بالصعاب.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi everybody, and welcome inshallah to the second lesson of our Introduction to Tajweed series, which is level 1 as we said. And inshallah we plan to have 3 levels, right? Level 1 is right now Introduction to Tajweed. Level 2, we're going to talk about Tuhfat al-Atfal. We're going to explain it by Imam al-Jamzuri rahmatullah alayh. And then level 3 inshallah is Al-Muqaddimat al-Jazariyya by Al-Imam Ibn al-Jazari rahimahullah. So, a quick recap of last lesson. Do you guys remember what we talked about? So 2 things. We introduced what is Ahkam Nun Sakina wa Tanween, meaning the 4 rules that we're going to discuss. So today we're going to discuss the first rule, right? Al-Idhhar. We said there's 4 rules. Who can tell me what it was? Yeah. So Al-Idhhar is the first one. Second one is Al-Idgham. The third one is Al-Qalb, which is the correct name for it, but we said the famous name for it is Al-Iqlab. The 4th rule is Al-Ikhfa. Today we're going to cover Al-Idhhar. But before I just want to do a quick recap of last lesson to make sure you guys are focused and understand what I'm talking about, right? Because I don't want to, we want to make sure you guys understand so we have something to build off of. So we said Nun Sakina and Tanween. These rules only deal with Nun Sakina and Tanween, right? So this means, for example, if I have the word or the 2 words, sorry, from the Quran, على الأرائك. على الأرائك, right? Is there a Nun Sakina? No. Is there a Tanween? No. So therefore the rules that we're going to discuss inshallah in these coming lessons, they don't deal with any of this. Right? They don't deal with any of this. Because remember we said to like the rules that we're discussing, you look at the Nun Sakina or the Tanween and the letter after it. If there's no Nun Sakina or Tanween, then these rules don't apply. So there's no Nun Sakina, there's no Tanween, so these rules don't apply. Let's give another example. Let's say the word Khalidina. Khalidina. This is alif. In ilm al-rasm we call it mahdoof. It has its own rules and everything. And most people learn it when they memorize the Quran through kitaba, especially it's very common in Africa, North Africa, West Africa, these countries. Inshallah, maybe if people are interested, we can do a small little dawrah on ilm al-rasm, the science of rasm. It deals with how the Quran was written and why it's written like that, and the rules, etc., etc. But muhim, we're focused on tajweed right now. So Khalidina. Actually, let's make it 2 words so we can have a word after or letter after it. So we can to make this example clear. So Khalidina fiha right here. Khalidina fiha. Let me put the shakl so people understand. Khalidina fiha. Do we have a Nun Sakina? We have a Nun Mutaharrika. Does that count? No. Nun Sakina or Tanween. Period. Dot. And if it's not Nun Sakina or Tanween, these rules don't apply. Understand? Okay. And the second important thing that I want you guys to remember is that we said that for Nun Sakina, when we're looking at the rule, it can happen in the same word or between 2 words. But Tanween only happens between 2 words because Tanween never happens in the middle of a word. What do I mean? Like I said, this should all be reviewed for you guys because we covered this last week and it's in the last video. So for example, the word in Surah Al-Fatiha, this marker's kind of... The word an'amta. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Right? أنعمت. Where's the red marker? I think the orange one's fine too. Oh no, here it is. Okay. an'amta. So do we have Nun Sakina? Yes. So therefore these, like we said, these 4 rules that we're going to talk about in the upcoming lessons, they're going to apply. What are these 4 rules? Inshallah, that's what we're going to learn. But I just want you guys to first understand this, that if it's not Nun Sakina or Tanween, what we're going to talk about for this specific small section, it doesn't apply. Okay? Is there Nun Sakina? Yes. So therefore, this rule applies. One of the 4 rules are going to apply. We look at the letter after it. What is it? It's Ain. Right? So we said Nun Sakina can happen when you, like the Nun Sakina and the letter after it can either be in one word, for example, an'amta, or it can be in 2 different words. So for example, the word let's see, man khafa, for example, right? Man khafa. Do we have a Nun Sakina? Yes, we do. So therefore, one of the rules are going to apply that we're going to discuss inshallah. And we look at the letter after it. And notice how the Nun is from the first word, men. The Kha, which is the word after it, is from a different word, Khafa. So even though it's a different word, as long as it comes after it. So Nun Sakina, it can either be, the 2 letters can either be in one word or separate, but it has to come right after it. This is opposed to Tanween, because Tanween, like we said, in Arabic, only comes at the end of words. So there is no such thing as Tanween in one word. So for example, let's bring examples from the book. So this is actually جامع شروح تحفة الأطفال. It has 2 explanations of تحفة الأطفال, the text that we're going to be studying in level 2. The first text, the first sharh, the first explanation is written by the author himself, Al-Allama Sulaiman Al-Jamzuri. He explained his own poem. And then the second explanation that this book has is by Al-Allama Ali Muhammad Al-Dabba'. Very famous explanation. However, this explanation is very, very rough on the beginner. Even us, when we get to level 2, we're not going to use this explanation. It's a bit tough because it deals with other stuff, advanced, like stuff that inshallah should be left for level 3, like difference of opinions in specific rules, qira'at, all this stuff, right? And for the beginner, he's going to get confused. So inshallah, we'll save that stuff for level 3, inshallah. Maybe for level 2. Ala hisab, depends how you guys do, inshallah. But let's get an example. So we said, for example, something with Tanween, right? Tanween does not happen. Sorry, Tanween does not happen in the middle of the word. So for example, I'll just write a random word. For example, this doesn't exist, but let's say the word abada. Abada has Tanween al-Fath, by the way, because it's abadan, but when you stop on it, abada. This is just a small example. Abada, right? I can't put, there's no such thing as Tanween in the middle or at the beginning. It just doesn't exist. Tanween is always at the end. So when it comes to the rules of Nun Sakina and Tanween, when it comes to Tanween, it only happens between 2 words, as opposed to Nun Sakina, which happens either in one word, as we showed, like an'amta, it's in one word, the Nun Sakina and the letter after it, or it can happen between 2 words. And the most important thing is it one after the other. So for example, an'amta, Nun Sakina, then ayn right after it. Or for example, man khafa, Nun Sakina from the first word, kha from khafa from the second word, but it comes right after it. I just want you guys to understand this. It's pretty simple. I just want to stress it. Okay. And another thing that I want you guys to remember is when it comes, there's a special, I want to say a special case, but some people get confused by this. For example, in the Quran, in the Quran we have, I mean, it's in Arabic too, but still, Quran's Arabic. قوما that's a shadda. قوما ضالين. Just want to make sure that the alif is mahdoof. Should be عادي. Yeah. So for example, here we have قوما ضالين. There's a fatha there too. Sorry. Right? It's قوما ضالين. However, when we recite it in the Quran, we say قوما ضالين. And this is the fourth rule, inshallah, and we're going to discuss it when its place comes. But muhim, I want you guys to focus. We said Nun Sakina and Tanween. We look at the Nun Sakina and Tanween and the letter after it. So we said Tanween only happens between two words because you can't have Tanween in the middle. So we have Tanween. Do we have Nun Sakina? No. Do we have Tanween? Yes. So therefore the rules are going to apply. We look at the letter after it. The letter after it, it's an alif. Look at it, it's an alif. So, is the letter after an alif? And the answer is no, right? In this specific case, because whenever you have Tanween al-Fath, right, the two fathas, Tanween al-Fath, it automatically comes with an alif. So the alif, think of it as part of that Tanween. So you actually just ignore the alif and you look at the letter da, right? So you'd look at Tanween and da. Okay? So these two letters, not the Tanween and the alif. Does that make sense? Pretty simple. Okay, good. So now inshallah we can get into today's lesson. So like we said, there are 4 rules. The first one, and the easiest of them, is what is known as, if you guys remember before you guys see the board, something known as al-Idhhar. Say it. Al-Idhhar. Al-Idhhar. So what does al-Idhhar mean? So remember, if you guys remember, we always mention the meaning linguistically and then in its context. Now, and there is benefit to know it linguistically, but let's say you didn't even know the linguistic definition and you only knew the definition in context. Istilahan means in the context of the field we're studying. Let's say you didn't know the linguistic definition at all. It would not affect your knowledge in that specific field, like if you didn't know it. But we just mention it because the scholars always do it, and it has benefits to it, like we mentioned. For example, you're just learning a new Arabic word, and you can see the connection between the Arabic word, the word that we're going to talk about, or whatever, the word that we're going to talk about or define. You can see what it means in Arabic and in the specific field and how there's some sort of connection between it. It's just a good benefit. But you don't have to know it. It's not going to affect your knowledge in that specific field if you don't know what it means linguistically. So, al-Idhhar. By the way, and I know some of you guys can't read Arabic, right? And I do this on purpose. Inshallah, we familiarize you. We get you guys familiar with the Arabic language. So inshallah, without even you knowing, you start to pick up things. So, al-Idhhar. That's the first rule. Lughatan, linguistically. I'm actually going to probably write for you so people can understand. To help you guys, right? You guys think it would help? Okay. Lughatan, linguistically. Istilahan, in the context that we're talking about, and in this case, in the context of Tajweed. Okay? So, what does al-Idhhar mean lughatan, linguistically? Idhhar linguistically means at-tawdih. At-tawdih, which means to make clear. Right, so I'm just going to write clear right here. I'll keep it in blue so you guys can... To make clear. For example, you'd say, like a scholar, for example, if let's say a scholar made a specific ruling clear, he made it clear for people, he'd say, tawdih mas'ala, X, Y, and Z. Right? So tawdih just means to make something clear. And then, what does it mean in the context of tajweed? So, if you guys can memorize this, inshallah, it'll be good. It'll be easier when we discuss when we're talking about poems and everything, because you guys memorize the poems and you guys usually memorize the ta'arif, the definitions with the poem. But idhhar in the context of tajweed means ikhraju كل حرف من مخرجه وإبقاؤه على حاله. So it is إخراج كل حرف من مخرجه وإبقاؤه على حاله. What's the rough translation of that? The rough translation is this blue marker is kind of bad, but inshallah. I guess we could say, like we said, translations, when it comes to semantics, they might not be as accurate. But the definitions in Arabic are accurate 100% word for word. But translations, yani, rough translation, you know. But inshallah, you guys will understand the definition 100%. So it is bringing, because I'm going to explain it. Bringing, or ikhraju, pronouncing. I think pronouncing is better for this. This marker is horrible, so I'm just going to use purple. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. Sorry. It is pronouncing إخراجه. Pronouncing or bringing out? إخراج الحرف. Pronouncing. Bringing out the letter. Yeah, pronouncing I think would be better. Like I said, guys, translation stuff. Pronouncing every letter. إخراج كل حرف from its pronunciation spot وإبقاؤه على حاله, and leaving it as it is. What does this mean? Let's break this down. إخراج كل حرف من مخرجه. Pronouncing every letter from its pronunciation spot. Or bringing out. You can say bringing out. Bringing out every letter from its pronunciation spot. So every single letter has a pronunciation spot. It has a makhraj. We're going to learn this inshallah when we get to stage 2. We'll introduce it before we get into Tuhfat al-Atfal. Al-makharij was-sifat. Makharij are where the letter comes out from. So every letter comes out from a specific place. And the way to know is you put sukoon on that harf. So for example, let's say I want to know where the letter ayn comes from. I'd say I put sukoon on it and I can feel it in my throat. So it's a throat letter. Ayn is a throat letter. Or for example, hamza, right? That's a tough one. You say right? You feel it in your throat. Or for example, kha, that's a throat letter, right? So that's one way that you can know where it comes from. And inshallah, like I said, we're going to discuss this more in detail in level 2. So إخراج كل حرف من مخرجه. But notice how it says Idhhar is pronouncing every letter from its pronunciation spot. But Ali, you said Idhhar only has to do with Nun Sakina and Tanween. So Idhhar actually is for all letters, but the specific ruling for Idhhar that we're going to discuss is only for Nun Sakina and Tanween, if that makes sense. So like we said, Idhhar exists for all letters. So the Idhhar that we're going to discuss for Nun Sakina and Tanween, the specific rulings, they don't apply to the other letters, even though the other letters have their own rules of Idhhar. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm going to repeat one more time. The rulings of Idhhar that we're going to discuss for Nun Sakina and Tanween are only for Nun Sakina and Tanween. Even though Idhhar is for other letters, they have different rulings for Idhhar. Okay? It's okay if you don't understand this. Muhim, just remember, because once you expand your understanding, inshallah, by the time we finish level 1 and level 2, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just for now, just know, Idhhar, its definition, إخراج كل حرف من مخرجه وإبقاؤه على حاله, and that the specific rules for Idhhar that we're discussing right now is only for Nun Sakina and Tanween. So, let's finish the definition. إخراج كل حرف من مخرجه, pronouncing every letter from its pronunciation spot, وإبقاؤه على حاله, leaving it as it is. As it is, yani, as it should be correctly pronounced. So for example, أنعمت, right? Surah Al-Fatiha. We have in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم أنعمت, right? Notice how the noon, this is an example of idhar, by the way, and we'll talk about the letters in a bit, the letters that cause idhar, right? Because like we said, Nun Sakina and Tanween, the rules depend on the letter that come after it. And Ain is one of the letters of idhar. We're going to talk about it in just a few minutes, but just for the example, pay attention. أنعمت عليهم. Notice how I pronounced the letter Noon in An'amta as it should be pronounced, and I left it as it is, as it's pronounced normally in Arabic. I didn't add, for example, a type of hold to it, like a ghunna. And we're going to discuss what ghunna means, inshallah, in future lessons. But I didn't say, for example, like, صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ. Right? I didn't do that hold, because that's not leaving it as it is. So idhar is, you pronounce the letter from its correct pronunciation point, and you leave it as it is, as it's supposed to be pronounced correctly. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So now, what are the letters of idhar, right? What letters that come after Nun Sakina and Tanween make you do idhar? Meaning, if you see those letters come after Nun Sakina and Tanween, you do idhar. You do what you do, إخراج كل حرف مخرج إبقاء حالة. You pronounce the letter from its pronunciation spot and you leave it as it is. What letters make that? So, there are 6 letters. And in Tuhfat al-Atfal, when we talk about it, it's in a bait, like a line of poetry. He says, أول الإظهار قبل أحرفي للحلق وطولان. فالأول الإظهار قبل أحرفي للحلق 6 رتبت فلتعرفي or فلتعرفي. همز فهاء ثم عين حاء مهملتان ثم غين خاء. 6 letters. What are they? So, the first one is, let's do it down here. Hamza. Second one, Ha. Ain. Oh, I'm gonna run out of space. Can I erase this? You guys understand this? Okay. Actually, it would look good if it's all organized, like, because we're talking about Idhar. I'm gonna try to fit it in. So the first one is Al-Hamza. Second one is Al-Ha. Third one, Ain. Fourth one, Ha. Fifth one, Ghain. Sixth one, Kha. Who could spot? There's something that all these letters share, a similarity. Ahsant, yeah. They're all throat letters. They're all throat letters. And it's actually in order, subhanAllah. It's in order, yani, starting from Hamza going up the throat. So Hamza is at the lowest part. Right? So Hamza is at the lowest, Kha is at the highest part of the throat. These 6 letters, whenever they come after the Nun Sakina or the Tanween, you do what we said. You do idhar. And we're going to give a lot of examples, inshallah, so you understand, because like we said, al-qira'atu sunnatun muttaba'ah. Reciting the Quran is a practice sunnah, meaning if you don't learn it from a teacher, if you don't learn it the practical way and see someone reciting it, just because you know the theoretical, there's going to be something missing. It's going to be hard for you to know what it is actually. And that's why Tajweed is split into 2 parts, practical and theoretical. What we're learning right now is the theoretical part, which is the rules and all that stuff. The practical part is just reciting the Quran properly as it was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. Right? As it was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. That part, the practical part, like we talked about, I think we talked about this, right? Is a fard ayn. It's a personal obligation. But the theoretical is a fard kifaya. However, learning about the theoretical part of Tajweed will help you immensely in the practical part. Because when you know the rules, you'll be able to recite it properly, right? Good. So let's erase this. And we'll start, inshallah, with examples for each one so you guys can understand. And we'll take them straight from the Quran. I'll use the examples from الشرح ديال الشيخ محمد علي الضبع. We'll use the book, inshallah. Okay, how much time do we have left? No way. It's already almost 11? Oh, yeah, we gotta finish this soon. Okay. Alright, so the first letter, we have 3 examples, inshallah. The first one وَمَنْ آمَنَ وَمَنْ آمَنَ. So we have Nun Sakina. Do we have Nun Sakina and Tanween? Yes, we do. What letter comes after it? Hamza. Is Hamza from the letters of Idhar? Yes. So we do Idhar. So we pronounce the Nun from its correct pronunciation point and we leave it as it is, how it's supposed to be. So we'd say وَمَنْ آمَنَ وَمَنْ آمَنَ وَمَنْ آمَنَ وَمَنْ آمَنَ. Okay? Second one. Okay, before we read the Quran way, we have وَجَنَّاتٍ أَلْفَافًا. Do we have Tanween or Nun Sakina? We have a Nun متحركة. متحركة means Fatha, Dhamma or Kasra. Not basically non-Sukun. Sakin is Sukun. We have a Nun mutaharrika, but doesn't matter. We only deal with Nun Sakina and Tanween. Do we have Tanween? Yes, we do. So what's the letter after it? Hamza. Is Hamza from one of the letters of Idhar? Yes, it is. So we do Idhar. And by the way, Hamza can come in many forms, right? It can be on top of an alif. It can be on top of the waw. It can be on top of the ya. It can be on top of the nabila. It can be under the nabila. Right? So just many ways. But if you see that this Hamza, you know it's Hamza. So therefore, we do Idhar here. So we'd say وَجَنَّاتٍ أَلْفَافًا. Focus on these two. We do Ghunna on the Noon, but that's for a different rule that we'll discuss later. But muhim, just focus on the tin-a part. وَجَنَّاتٍ أَلْفَافًا. Good. Third example. We have يَنْأَوْنَ عَنْهُ. Right? We'd say وَهُمْ يَنْأَوْنَ عَنْهُ وَهُمْ يَنْهَوْنَ عَنْهُ وَيَنْأَوْنَ عَنْهُ. يَنْأَوْنَ. There we go. Idhar right there. Nun Sakina, Hamza. So that's the Hamza. Moving on to the next letter, inshallah. The next letter is Harful Ha. The letter Ha. First example. Do we have Nun? Like I said, this is a question you should ask yourself every time when we're dealing with the rules of Nun Sakina and Tanween. Do we have Nun Sakina and Tanween? If not, these rules don't apply. If so, which one? Nun Sakina? Yes. Ha? Is Ha from the letters of Idhar? Yes. And it comes after it, so therefore we do Idhar. So we'd say minha, not min. إبقاؤه على حال. Leave it as it is. Pronounce it from its pronunciation point and leave it as it is. Minha. Here. من هاجر. Nun Sakina and Ha after it. Remember, Nun Sakina, like we said, it can be between two words. Don't forget. جرف هار. We have kasratain, yani tanween, and we have a ha after it, and ha is from the letters of Idhar. So therefore, we don't say جرف هار. No, pronounce it as it is. Leave it as hadi. It's the easiest one. What you think it is, it is. جرف هار. This is the simplest rule. I'm telling you guys, because the next three, they have different stuff. جرف هار. That's Hamza. So, next up is Harful Ain. The letter Ain. أنعمت. Do we have Nun Sakina? Yes, we do. What comes after Ain? Is Ain from the letters of Idhar? Yes, so therefore we do Idhar. So we'd say أنعمت. Same thing here. Nun Sakina, Ain. Min ilm. Min ilm, if you stop on it. Min ilm. Same thing here. Nun Sakina? No, but we have Tanween. Ain after it. حقيق على. حقيق على. Right? I think you guys are getting the hang of it right now. So like, I don't have to keep saying, do we have Tanween? Do we have Nun Sakina? This letter after it, letters of Idhar. Like, I did it the first two letters so you guys understand, but now it should be pretty self-explanatory. Next up we have Harful Ha. First example. من حاد. Nun Sakina. Ha from the letters of Idhar. من حاد. عادي. من حاد. That's not. We'll talk about it later. ينحتون. Same thing here. Nun Sakina, Ha, letters of Idhar. Pronounce Nun as it is. By the way, when we look these rules, we look at the letter that's after Nun Sakina and Tanween, but they affect the Nun Sakina and Tanween. Okay? So, Ha affects whatever. The letters affect the Nun Sakina and Tanween, the way we do it. So, for example, these letters, they make us do Idhar on the Nun Sakina and Tanween. Idhar, عند. The correct term for it is عند. Not fi, عند. At. And you'll see. The second row idgham is fi, in. And you will explain why. In the upcoming lessons, inshallah, upcoming lessons. But we say, just so you guys know, mustalahat, ulama tajweed, the correct terms that the scholars of tajweed use. So they say, idhhar inda, idhhar at. So we have idhhar at, okay? So we do idhhar, nun sakina, alimun hakim, idhhar on the tanween because they come, because ha comes after it and it's from the letters of idhhar. And just so you guys know a little fa'idah, the rasm of the Quran, a little benefit, the rasm of the Quran, the rules of Nun Sakina and Tanween affect it. So for example, Tanween al-Dam, like each person has their own handwriting, but in the Quran, so Tanween al-Dam for Idhhar, you'll see it something like that, kinda. Something like that. Feel me? Something like that. Something like, you have the Dhamma, how they write it. I write my Dhammas like that. I know it's weird, but they have something like this, and then they have this thing. That's how they'll write Tanween for Idhhar. But for the other rules, they'll write it like this. Inshallah, when we finish the rules, we'll talk about it. Just know that sometimes I'll follow the correct dabt of the rasm, and I'll write it how it's supposed to be in the Quran. Sometimes I'll just write it normal Tanween. So don't take this as the blueprint for rasm, because that's not what we're talking about right now. I just want to put it out there. All right, on to the next letter. Next up, حرف الغين. Oof, 11 o'clock. حرف الغين. فسينغضون. Nun sakina, غين after it. غين is from the letters of idhhar. We do idhhar. من غل. How do you pronounce من غل? So من غل is, do we say من غل, من غل? Let's see. Do we have Nun sakina or tanween? Yes. What's the letter after it? غين. Is غين from the letters of what? What rule is it part? Is it what rule has the letter غين in it? You guys know what I mean. What is غين from the letters of a specific rule, and which rule is that? Which rule is the letter غين part of? There we go. Sorry. إظهار. So therefore we do إظهار. We don't say من غل عادي. Normal. إبقاؤه على حاله. We pronounce it إبقاؤه على حاله. من غل. صافي. من غل. This is the easiest, you guys. Come on. Okay. I just wanted to go break it down, go through that little, is it this, is that, just so you guys can understand again, because I feel like we were going a bit fast on the other ones, because I'm assuming you guys understand, because we've done it so many times now in this lesson, so you guys should understand it. It's very simple. If you don't, come to me after, inshallah. Same thing. حليما غفورا. Oh, this is good. حليما غفورا. Do we have Nun Sakina? No. Do we have Tanween? Yes. We look at the letter after it. It's Alif. Exactly. The Alif comes with the Tanween. So this whole thing is the Tanween. And the real letter after it is Ghain. So therefore, it's Tanween and Ghain, and that's Idhhar. Perfect. On to the last letter, inshallah. Alright, last but not least, حرف الخاء, letter Kha. First word, al-munkhaniqah. That's how we pronounce it in Arabic. Quran, same thing. Why? Because we have Nun Sakina and Kha after it. Nun Sakina and Kha after it, and Kha is from the letters of Idhhar. وَلِمَنْ خَافَ. Nun Sakina, yep. Letter after it, Kha. Kha is from the letters of Idhhar. We do Idhhar. يَوْمَئِذٍ خَاشِعَةٍ. I forgot the Fatha on the Kha. But Tanween, Kha after it, we do Idhhar. Make sense, everybody? Alright, inshallah, I'm going to write a few questions on the board, and I want you guys to tell me what is it. Is it Idhhar or no Idhhar? And if so, why? And then after that, inshallah, we'll put an actual whole, we'll put Surah Al-Kawthar or a verse from the Quran or something, and I want you guys to tell me all the cases of Idhhar in it. Okay? But first, let's give some examples. Let's do the singular questions first. Those watching online, pause the video because it's going to be uploaded, inshallah. You guys have 5 minutes. 5 questions. First one. Sorry, this is 2 words. It kind of looks one, but إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ. That's the word in Arabic. إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ. Second one. خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. Third one. مَنْ عَمِلَ. Fourth one. حَكِيمًا عَلِيمًا. Fifth one. I don't know if you guys know, but Moroccans, like in their language, they make tafkhim of alifs. يعني tafkhim, يعني they make it heavy. So for example, this should be read in the Quran, alima. A lot of times in our language we'll say alima, like something like that. Hakiman alima. Not to that extent, but يعني you'll notice it. But مهم, hakiman alima. Hakiman alima. Hakiman alima. That's the word. And then the last one, man taba. Sorry, not the word. That's two words. Man taba, two words. Okay? Take time, inshallah, and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, inshallah, first word, illa tansuruhu. What is that? Do we have Nun Sakina? Yes, we do. But it's not written. Why? That's actually a clue to you guys. It should be a clue for you guys. Sad, is Sad from the letters of Idhar? No, so therefore it's not Idhar. Some of the, like we said, the rules, they have an effect on the rasm of the Quran. This rule is called ikhfa. When you have ikhfa, you don't write the sukoon. So it would be read, so if it was idhar, we'd say illa tansuruhu. But it's not idhar, so we ikhfa. It's the fourth rule, which we're going to discuss later, inshallah. But just so you guys know, it would be read illa tansuruhu. Good. Second one, khalidina fiha. Good. No nun sakina, no tanween. So let's just exit here. No idhar, no idhar. Man amila. Man amila. Not man amila. Oh, man amila. No, man amila. Don't make the lam heavy. It's light. Good. Idhar, yes. Nun sakina and ayn after it. Hakiman alima. Good. Tanween. And remember, the alif comes with it. The alif comes with tanween al-fath. Only with tanween al-fath. The tanween of the two fathas. But if it's kasratain, the two kasras or the two dhammas, there's no alif that comes with it. Good. So ayn and fathatain. So yes, good. Idhar. Man taba. How would we read it? Man taba. That's, yeah, good. It's ikhfa again. You don't need to know what that is now, but just know it's not idhar, because there's a nun sakina, but there's no hamza, ha, ayn, ha, ghayn, kha, ta. Like, it's ta. It's not one of these 6 letters, so therefore there is no idhar. Good. So one more thing, inshallah. If you guys can't understand my handwriting, my fault gang, you can open Surah Al-Kawthar on your Quran or online, and same thing, inshallah. So let's read this together. Like we said, ahkam an-nun as-sakinati wa tanween. That's the biggest clue. Okay? That's the biggest clue. So I'm going to give you guys time. Figure out where idhar is, if there's any. Remember, ahkam an-nun sakina tanween. Rulings related to nun sakina and tanween. Only. Go ahead. Okay, bismillah. Let's read this together. Forgot a kasra there too. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If you continue, Rahimi inna. Is there nun sakina? There's a nun mutaharrika. We said, remember, nun mutaharrika is basically nun with a fatha, kasra, or dhamma. Just basically every vowel except sukoon. The one with sukoon is called sakina. The one without the sukoon and a different vowel, either fatha, kasra, or dhamma, is called mutaharrika. So we just have a nun mutaharrika. We don't have tanween, we don't have nun sakina, so there's no idhar here, because idhar can only, like idhar that we're talking about, because remember, idhar can happen for others, but the idhar we're talking about specifically only deals with nun sakina and tanween, and there's no nun sakina and tanween, so therefore it's not here. Idhar that we're talking about is not here. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. If you continue, al-kawthara fasalli. Any nun sakina? المتحركة yeah, no tanween. Okay, فصل لربك وانحر. Tanween? Nope. Nun sakina? Yes, we do. What's the letter after it? Ha. Is ha from the letters of idhar? Yes, so therefore we'd say فصل لربك وانحر. وانحر. We pronounce it. We pronounce the noon as it is, right? And because ha is from the letters of idhar, it affects the noon, right? So we do idhar عند الحاء. Because remember, idhar uses the word عند, at. We do idhar at ha. Idhar of the noon, obviously, right? So there is the idhar. One har. إن شانئك هو الأبتر. نون متحركة. No Nun Sakina and no Tanween. Question? No. The kaf? No. Oh, okay. So just because you see the hamza doesn't automatically mean that it's a hamza. Kaf is just written like that. But the other examples that I gave you, like the one on the alif, the one on the ba, those are actual hamzas. But the kaf is just a normal kaf. It just has the hamza in it, the way it's written. Okay? Alright. And one more thing. This is this is not needed, but there's some people that may read in the riwayat warsh. If you guys know, right? Quran, revealed in 7 ahruf, 10 qira'at. Each qari has his, like, the riwayat. Right? You guys know this stuff, right? I don't need to. Right? You guys know this. Quran, revealed in 7 ahruf, has 10 qira'at. Warsh is a riwayah of Nafi'. Don't confuse yourselves. This is only for people that, if you know you read Warsh, you read Warsh. Otherwise, you don't have to understand this. And just take this as a qaida. Whenever we add something extra, if you understand it, khair. If you don't worry yourself too much with it, right? Because you're going to learn it anyways after, inshallah. So, just a little thing. For the people that read Warsh, when they have Idhhar at the Hamza, and don't take me for the rasm of how they write in for Warsh. Even though I'm Moroccan, right? I know a little bit, but I learned with Hafs, and I have the rasm, the writing in the way that they write in the Masahif here. So not in Warsh. So don't take me for the writing here. I need the rasm how it should be here. But basically what they do is when they have Nun Sakina or Tanween followed by a Hamza, and it has to be munfasil. So munfasil means in different words, muttasil means in one word. Okay? So these are munfasil. So whenever you have a Nun Sakina or Tanween followed by a Hamza mutaharrika, that's munfasil. Mutaharrika, like we said, we explained what it is. Right? Hamza, letter with kasra, dhamma, fatha. Basically everything but sukun. So when they have Nun Sakina and Tanween followed by a Hamza mutaharrika, they make the Nun or Tanween like have a vowel, right? For example, they make it have like fatha. They basically give the vowel that's on the Hamza, and they basically give the vowel that's on the Hamza to the Nun sound that's in the Tanween and the Nun that's here, and they ignore the Hamza. What do I mean? So for example, we say in Hafs, kullun amana, they would say kulluna mana, right? And then here they say mana, and they do med, by the way, for the alif. If med is elongation, it's gonna be a rule that we're gonna discuss. Okay? I don't want you guys to get confused. You can research if you want, but make sure you take them the correct sources. Because a lot of A'da Islam, the enemies of Islam, they try to spread shubuhat, doubts to the Muslim by bringing him stuff like qira'at. They have variations in their books that arise from corruption, and they try to say, oh look, the Muslims have the same thing in the Quran. No, the 10 qira'at are all Quran, right? They're all Quran. And like we said, depends what you mean by the word Quran, because Quran can mean different things. This, like I said, this is a topic for a much higher level, not beginners. Inshallah, we'll talk about it in later lessons, later stages, not lessons. But don't confuse yourselves. And actually, as a matter of fact, I remember this time, and this is actually a reminder for all of us that we need to seek knowledge. Imagine there's a Christian missionary, he's going around talking to Muslims, trying to give his da'wah, whatever, trying to, obviously by like spreading shubuhat to the Muslims. He's telling this Muslim, look, you have different qira'ats in the Quran. Even though any Muslim that like seeks knowledge, he'll know qira'at, it's a whole science in Islam. Ilmul qira'at, it's literally a whole science. Literally the book, Sharh Hifz Atfal by Muhammad Ali al-Dabba', that I said that's too advanced for the beginner. Why? Because it mentions some stuff that has to do with qira'at and difference of opinions and specific rules. Not qira'at, but difference of opinions in like Idhhar, Idgham. And that's, like I said, for advanced topics. But it's a well-known thing. And it's not something that arose from variation. It's all divinely inspired. He's telling this guy, this dude is telling this guy that if you were to recite Hafs an Asim, which is the riwayah that most of the world reads, right? If you were to go recite it in Morocco, where most of them read Warsh, they'd kill you. Or like they'd throw you in prison or something. Wallah, I uqsim billah alim, I saw the clip with my own eyes. Uqsim billah alim. Imagine this. And like, I'm Moroccan, right? In Maghrib, not only do they teach Hafs, the imams read with it, and so many different other riwayats, Qaloon, and this is what we talked about. Remember guys, in Mukhtasar al-Akhdari we said, some people, when we talked about the blindness of the heart, this is it. And this dude, you can tell him whatever you want. He's just gonna spread misinformation. He doesn't listen. He's blind. That heart that helps guide him, the light in the heart that guides the servant to the haqq, to the truth, it's gone, bro. It's gone. Some people, they just don't want to listen. This is why even in da'wah, like إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ, you do not guide whom you love. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides. Because some people, like, no matter how much evidence and proof and haqq you give them, they're not going to listen. Just a little fa'idah. Don't confuse yourselves too much. Take this as a principle. Like we said, if you don't understand it, khair inshallah, you'll understand it later. If you do, that's also good. Any questions? I gotta eat, bro. Getting hungry. Okay? Good. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.